Hello and welcome to this advanced tutorial on plotting of isometric view. In this tutorial I have taken a complicated problem. There are two holes, one in the front view and another in the top view, and there is a slot feature. So these three features make this object a bit complicated, and an attempt to solve this kind of a problem in isometric view would definitely be enriching your knowledge. So that is the reason why I have taken this problem for exercise. Now let us get into the problem. To solve this problem, I am not going to use the box method, but instead we are going to separate the component or the object into two parts. This is part 1 and this is part 2, and we are going to solve them separately, and at the end you can combine both of them to get the final result. In order to save time, I have drawn a horizontal line and a 30-degree line, and to construct this portion we need a horizontal distance of 60 mm and a vertical distance of 70 mm. So we get a rectangle of shape 60 mm by 70 mm. So I have drawn the rectangle also in the isometric plane. The next step is to mark the center of this circle. So I have drawn a vertical line here and a horizontal line here, each at a distance of 30 mm and 30 mm from this corner. So this is the center of the circle. Now I am going to apply the 4 center method to draw the outer circle and similarly the inner circle. If anybody has a doubt in a 4 center method of drawing a circle, you can refer my earlier video on how to draw a circle by 4 center method and then come back to this lesson. So I have found the centers. This is center 1, center 2, center 3 and center 4. I go to center 1 and measure this existing radius and complete the portion of the arc. The same radius can be used to draw the other arc also. Now I go to this center and measure the radius available. Similarly, I go to the other center and draw. So we have completed the outer circle. In the same manner, we are going to complete the inner circle also using 4 center method. Now the inner circle has been drawn. The next step is we have to mark 35 mm in the top. So I have to take 17.5 mm in the left hand side and 17.5 mm in the right hand side and mark it from the midpoint of this side. So I have marked the midpoint and I am marking a distance of 17.5 mm. With this as center, I have marked 17.5 mm here and 17.5 mm here. Now we have completely copied the part 1 on this plane, and we can darken the required portions alone in order to improve clarity. Now the details of this plane has to be redrawn on another plane at a distance of 60 mm. So I have to shift all these details to another plane at a distance of 60 mm. So let me mark the isometric axis first, and then from every point I am marking a line of length 60 mm. Of course, I will draw a tangent from the outer circle in this direction. Now we can connect all the end points of 60 mm lines. So we have now copied this rectangle over here, and of course let us mark the center of the circle. And this point is the center of the circle. So we have now completed the details on the top plane. Now we can focus on the second part. The thickness of the second part is 20 mm, and it is located exactly in the middle of the 60 mm length, and it can be observed from the top view. So let us mark the midpoint first. So this is our reference point. From this point we can mark a point of 10 mm from here and 10 mm from here. So this is 10 mm and 10 mm. I draw a vertical line through the reference points, and on these lines we have to mark a distance of 15 mm from the top, because the total height is 70 mm, and from here it is 40 mm, from here it is 25 mm. So 40 minus 25, this length is 15 mm. So we have to mark that distance here. So this distance is 15 mm. Through that point I will draw a reference line. So this line marks the top of this second part. So from here we can now proceed, and we have to draw a line of length 80 plus 25, 105 mm. So I am orienting my drafter scale in this direction, and I am drawing a line of length 105. And the total depth is 50 mm. Now I am marking, I am drawing a line of 50 mm length. Again, we can try to complete this rectangle by drawing a line in the isometric y direction. And the thickness is 20 mm, so we can complete the scale orientation has to be often changed in order to complete the second part. The next step is to mark this center and this center in order to complete the semicircle over here and another semicircle over here. So the radius of this semicircle is 25. I have to mark 25 mm from here, and this value is also 25. So let me mark 25 mm reference point. And then this is 25 mm. Similarly, from here to here it is 45 mm. So let me mark the second center. The second center is here. So now we have to draw a semicircle over here and a smaller semicircle over here and repeat the steps. And this is the second radius. We have drawn the semicircle. The same details can be shifted to the other plane also. I am drawing the reference points and I am shifting the center by 20 mm. I am shifting both the centers by 20 mm. I am using the already available radius. Now I am drawing a tangent in this direction to limit the other portion of the arc. Similarly, we can draw the inner arc. The radius of the inner arc is 15 mm. Now let us draw the inner arc. The radius is 15 mm. Now let us draw the inner arc. The radius is 15 mm. The same method what we applied for the outer arc is being employed here now. I draw a rectangle to draw the semicircle. The inner arc also has been drawn. We have to repeat the same inner arc at a distance of 45 mm from here, and I am marking the reference lines. Now, a line parallel to this has to be drawn here. Let me mark the reference point. It should be at a distance of 20 mm. So from here I am marking a point at a distance of 20 mm, and you can draw a line in this direction. So following this pattern I have drawn this portion of the arc by free hand. Now the drawing is over, and we can complete all the required lines by a darker pencil. Here I am using a sketch only to improve the clarity of the listeners. And when you draw a line in one particular orientation, try to complete all the lines in the orientation. So that will save a lot of time and would also improve your drawing accuracy. And following this pattern, I am marking a freehand curve. I have already marked the reference point for end of the curve. And that is the end of this tutorial. You can carefully note that we have not used any box method in this tutorial. We have used a different method by which we have drawn this portion, and separately we have drawn this portion, and finally we have combined them together to get the final view. So if you really like this video, you can share this with your friends who are learning engineering graphics, and also you can subscribe the channel because you will get all the notifications at first instance. See you in the next tutorial. Bye for now.